Vincent, I would have lost a lot of money if I was an old fund manager. You would have thought after the financial crisis, the last thing you'd want to be, given that the economics around the world is soggy, is in advertising.
Yeah.
Yet WPP share price keeps going up and up and up. Results today, how come?
Well, I think that if you look at the results over a period of time, they certainly justify the share price. Advertising is very resilient, funnily enough. I mean, there's been a lot of angst, particularly among journalists, about the shredding of the newspaper advertising market. But actually, it's growing in lots of other areas. Digital, emerging markets, electronic advertising, all that kind of thing is growing very fast and consistently, right? And what WPP has done, and Martin Sorrell, the chairman and CEO, has done very smartly, is to sort of identify those areas and target those over the last several years through acquisitions and then trying to establish organic growth. And I think what you're seeing is just that paying back, really.
And how do the results look today? I mean,
reasonably good. I mean, revenue was up a little bit, you know. I mean, he was quite sort of bearish on the economy, generally speaking, and citing the sort of major macro factors that are out there that are keeping economic growth fairly stagnant, which and you know, we sort of all know what they are. But you know, if you look at individual sectors within the company, like digital advertising or emerging markets, they're growing very, very strongly. So they're more than making up for the stagnation in Europe or the downturn in the traditional advertising market. For example, he's predicting that emerging markets will grow, digital advertising will grow 14% every year between now and 2017, whereas the wider business is just growing by about 3%.
And as well as that spectacular sort of organic growth, I guess, it's a very acquisition-led strategy too, isn't it?
Totally. I mean, WPP made 65 acquisitions in 2012 all over the world. It's an incredibly global business. Publicis made 22. So it, you know, the business thrives as much on acquisition as it does on organic growth. And you know, to establish positions in, say, digital or emerging markets, these companies had to buy in their way into those markets, or they had to acquire. And you know, it's a creative industry, so there are lots of creatives out there working ways, you know, on their little agencies that then establish an element of market share in a particular sector or in a particular market. And Martin Sorrell comes along and he buys them, and that's the way it has worked over the last few years, and I think it's going to continue like that.
And still only on 13 times, which is, you know, not a huge multiple for a company that's growing fairly well. So thank you very much for that summary.